All right, talking about rollers today. Rollers are right here. I'm gonna take the one that's on there off. I'm gonna change out the adjustment brackets on it. And I'm going to just show you the difference in the stock. This is the stock roller. And this was the first custom roller I had made, and it was actually larger. This is the stock rollers 2 7/8. This roller is 3-inch. And then this roller that's on the mower right now is 2.5-inch. And they all serve a different purpose. Well, the stock one is a stock one. It is what it is. This one limits you to minimum cutting height 3 millimeter. And the reason being is when this is on, if you go any lower than 3 millimeter, the blade is going to turn and start hitting your roller, these grooves, and it's going to start rubbing on that. So you can't go any lower than 3 millimeter because of that. So with the 2.5, I can actually adjust it further down to cut lower, and I really like it. On top of that, the stock roller, threaded piece right here that the roller is bolted on with, or it's got a nut here that's holding it. And then it's got these spacers right here, the washers that go in here, that will make it so when you use your bearing, I don't know if you can see it there on your bearing, but the bearing has an insert on it. And the insert is so that it will fit into that roller, because this roller is cut non-standard. And so this spacer goes in that bearing, and then it can go on here, and it goes like this. So it's going to slide in there, and that's your setup, your bearing, your roller. That's your stock roller. This roller is the same as my other one, yellow one. It's made out of polyurethane. It's really quiet. It doesn't make a whole bunch of noise when you're riding over the concrete. There's no extra washers. There's no rigmarole on here. There's no nothing. It just is basic, standard, and whatever. And they actually gave me these great bearings here, so I can remove this and I can grease up these bearings as needed. Okay, so I'm sure you guys have noticed I have this board here. I always use this when I'm working on the mower. I don't really need it for what I'm doing here, but basically to take this apart, I'm gonna need to take out my adjustment knobs. I'm gonna loosen this. I'm going to need to take off my cross member rod. This is what holds the whole front end tight together. So when you're mowing, or when you're adjusting the blade height, this basically compresses the two sides together and makes it so your blade won't go up and down. So take that guy off, and I'm going to take out my adjustment bolts, 2 on each side. Take these guys off. So these are just the bearing nuts. Here's a plate that holds the bearing onto the adjustment bracket. You know, I will say this, you know, McLane has definitely made this mower, so it's pretty easy to work on. You'll find it's like adjusting the cutting height. You know, it may look like a lot at first when you're doing it, but after you do it a couple of times, you realize that it's really nothing. There's nothing special. It's just a regular bearing, no spacer, and your rod, axle rod that goes through the roller. It just goes on here. This one here without the spacer, there's a little bit of play. And this just has a snap ring that's holding the roller onto the rod here, the axle rod. So right here, you know, McLane is really good about parts and getting parts sent out to you and stuff like that. I don't have any problems with it. All I have to do now is put these back on here, and it does matter which bracket goes on which side. It sits like this, and so it's like this is pointing backwards, this little angle piece, and the flat side is forward, right like that. Okay, so it's going like that. This is going to go in here like this. So I'm just going to make sure I carefully get this threaded back in here properly. All right, so over here we need to make sure that the bracket aligns in here so we can get our alignment bolts back in there. On this one here, it has this spacer that rides in the slot. You need to make sure that that gets in the slot. Alright, so that one's sliding in there. So right in here, just need to make sure this spacer slides in the slot here. And so when you're adjusting the blade height, you just need to make sure this is just loose enough to where the spacer is riding in there. And this one, same thing. Just make sure this is loose enough so the bracket can go up and down. So the top hole gets just the regular bolt with the regular washer on it, and then the spacer goes on the bottom. And then lastly, just got to put this tie rod back in. And this is a good time to make the adjustment on the nuts. Thread this back through. Okay, so everything's loose enough where I can adjust my blade height. That's it. That's the rollers, the adjustment brackets, adjustment nuts, adjustment knobs. That's pretty much everything on that. I'm going to do a backlapping probably next week. I really need to sharpen this blade. It's really dull. So thanks for watching. I hope that helps somebody out there with the McLane and understanding why you might be having some problems with the front roller, and also a little information on that custom roller. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.